What's good, people? You know, I've been in deep thought about a lot of things, and one thing I always realized for a long time that evolution is only the conclusion that the world is only an illusion. And what the hell I mean by that? For instance, most of us say, "Oh, this is a matrix," and you know, we're in a system under a dome, and gonna go towards light and all that good jazz. All right, well, let's take it deeper. If this is an illusion, was it in continuance? Why are we not seeing it? Because we keep feeding the illusion. Anytime you get stuck in politics, racism, uh, money becomes your life. You know what I mean? For instance, you stuck in looking at someone's physical avatar, then you're stuck on the illusion that that's all that person's about. When really it's the soul that resonates in that person that that helps manifest that whole person's reality is who they truly are. You know what I mean? The physical is only animation. It's a spacesuit we use to walk in this illusion. You know what I mean? This is our spacesuit. Our soul resonates inside us, but it came from God, the source, however you want to you know classify the higher power. Um so yeah, man, we gotta quit feeding the illusion out here. Even myself, sometimes I may want to buy something like that new Wolverine game's coming out, and I was like, damn, man, Wolverine's coming out. A couple of my friends called, my cousin called me, talked about it. My boy just called me yesterday talking about it, because they know I'm a big gamer, and they are too. However, lately I've been thinking, it's like, man, if I buy that game, it's not expanding me none, and you know I'm only feeding that same illusion that I'm already familiar with. I got Wolverine comic books, I got Wolverine, past games, got Wolverine shit with T-shirts on them, what have you, and it's like at some point, let's climb the fuck up off Wolverine dick or any other thing. You know what I mean? Why keep feeding the damn illusion? You got a president out here now slaughtering horses. At the same time, he's putting imports on beef. You heard me? So, but yet we'll go straight to that grocery store and, you know, vote for these presidents and people we put in power feeding that same illusion. And then some of the conscious people, say, and they have, they say basically, go within, but they don't really explain what that means. If you're to go within, that's finding, the true you, as I mentioned before. For instance, if you close your eyes right now and don't think nothing, just don't think nothing, just pure blackness, part of you at some point is going to say, man, this is kind of lame. Okay, well, that's consciousness. That's basically what God did in the beginning. In the beginning, there was darkness, and then there came light. Inside you resonates the same essence of God, so you can do the same thing. We got to quit feeding that illusion, you know what I'm saying? And part of feeding the illusion is just thinking we ain't nothing but regular humans out here, that all we consist of is eating, fucking, and working, you know what I mean? And repeat, we go to work, go home, hi honey, you know, interact, whatever, go to sleep, do the same damn thing. Now you gotta expand more than that, man. You know, if you're out here in the world, Hold on, I'm gonna start my car up. I'm headed to the gym, y'all. Yeah, started up for a little bit. But anyway, as I was saying, if you're out here and basically your only idea of life is to get material things, you're completely lost. You know, you're just doing nothing but feeding that same illusion. And not only that, the things you own will own you. You know what I mean? For instance, if I was I had a decent amount of money and I was just crazy about cars, and I had a wife or whatever, and she was like, "Oh, you keep spending all your money on cars and cars and cars and cars with my world," and you know what I'm saying? If I all I could think about is the newest Lambo or whatever it might be, and what I mean, it's the workers of that car. And in my mind, that material thing is now owning my mind. It's owning my money, my finances, even my relationship with the so-called woman. So, that's just food for thought, man. I'm all about some expansion, but we gotta expand ourselves before we get out here and thinking, the world's just gonna change, in a blink of an eye because we say things are wrong or whatever. But what are we doing, you know, to feed this actual illusion? You know what I mean? Like right now, I'm headed to the gym. Let's help building my temple, and I'm gonna come back. Feed the dogs. Take care of them a little bit. And I'll go inside, because it's my day off, and I will read. I will, watch YouTube, whatever I might do to help expand myself. You know, I think it's important in order to beat this illusion or extend in this illusion. You got to realize you yourself are not all of what you see. Even it is an illusion, because everything in this world, in a sense, is an illusion. If it's not eternal, then it's illusion. The spirit world is eternal. You see what I'm saying? You say you're a leaf on a tree. You start off as a leaf, and then you fall. Then you turn. You lose your chlorophyll, and you start to turn a unrusty, color, leaf, yellow, brown, orange. It's not in its original form, and then that leaves decay, and then it's no more. So it was just an illusion. I had a dream once that, man, I don't share this with everybody, but I'm gonna share it with y'all. That I was running fast as hell, man, and I mean, in this dream, I was running. I was seeing everything just kind of pass by, and I picked up speed, and then I began to fly. And then in my head, I said, man, where am I going? I flew past the clouds, and I ended up in space, and I just kept going. And I said, well, I want to see God. The crazy thing about the dream is I didn't see God, but I started to see what was Earth, but I had just left Earth. And I said, man, I'm flying to a planet that looks just like Earth. I'm talking about I'm flying, and I can feel everything. Like I can feel the speed. I see the stars past me and everything. I'm getting closer to the planet. I see the, outscope of it. I'm getting closer and closer. And as I get closer to the planet, to where I can start seeing the landmass, I wake up and, I'm back, you know, amongst people in my avatar living life. But I think I'm gonna continue this conversation in another video, because it's things I like to express that I just can't get out right now. But if I can leave you with anything, remember, evolution is the conclusion that the world is only an illusion. So try not to feed the illusion, but extend within it manifest what you want to manifest, so that your illusion is, you know what I mean, is blissful if you can make it so. You know what I mean? And sometimes, I think I'll save that for another video. I think I'm going too deep. I don't want to go over nobody's head. Till next time, people, I'm out. Peace.